Joe. Thanks, Eric, and thank you, team. I appreciate you guys joining today for high-level overview of our new GoTo Resolve platform. What I want to do is first set the stage just with a few slides and kind of offer some differentiators with GoTo as far as what's going on with us as a company and just some differentiation at the partner level. And then we'll get into the products in the form of an overview of GoTo Resolve and demonstration. So it's been obviously an exciting year for GoTo. There's been lots going on. We'll start with the rebrand itself to GoTo. We've addressed a sort of an identity crisis we've had going through the years with all of our M&A activity. Depending upon where our partners come in, they might have been familiar with, LogMeIn, or if they were familiar with Jive, our cloud phone system that got rebranded to GoTo Connect. So there was some confusion there. We've simplified the brand. It's GoTo, and with it comes a simplified offering, as you see here on this slide with with our two product pillars. There's GoTo Connect on the right, which is essentially our combined UCaaS and CCaaS platform, and then you see all the different flavors of that interaction with GoTo Connect. And then on the left is GoTo Resolve. That is the new all-in-one IT support and management platform. It features a first-to-market zero trust security architecture. So again, that's new to market, going to be very disruptive. And when you combine GoTo Connect with GoTo Resolve, it really sets us apart as the go-to supplier to prop up that tech stack that supports the remote and hybrid workforce, because we keep people not just connected, but also supported. And there's actually, a third leg, if you look at it like a tech stack pedestal, and that is security. And with that is our innovations around security with Zero Trust in GoTo Resolve, as well as LastPass, and that's that LastPass, the password manager we've had. It's spinning off into its own company. Some of you may be familiar with it as a password manager solution, and it includes SSO and MFA. So just to speak to GoTo Connect before we go to Resolve, GoTo Connect is the cloud phone system, if you're not familiar, and it combines baked-in contact center, right? So that is what was formerly Jive, and that again is the UCaaS side. And then we get into GoTo Resolve. So let's first answer the question: what is GoTo Resolve? It is an all-in-one IT support platform for remote support, management, camera sharing, conversational ticketing, all in that single pane of glass. And you see here on this slide the areas of value, the ease of use. So we keep simplicity at the core of our design in all of our products. GoTo Resolve is no exception. It takes a security-first approach. It addresses what we've seen in the market as major breaches that other providers have been vulnerable to. We addressed that with the zero trust architecture, and it's all the tools you need and none that you don't. Our aim is to unbloat what is typically bloated solutions that you see in the marketplace for remote IT remote support. And just keep things uncomplicated, minimize the clutter, so to speak. When we talk about GoTo Resolve and the single pane of glass, typically the point solutions are in two classes or two categories. There's the reactive side for ad hoc support, conversational ticketing, and then the proactive side, which is more the RMM tools, right? Like we had our central product. So this combines it essentially into one IT ecosystem. The background of it is, if you're familiar with our remote solutions group, it consisted of about 5 to 6 point solutions. Things like GoToMyPC, GoTo Assist and Rescue, which were ad hoc support, and then lightweight RMM with Central. And a lot of them kind of were redundant. So this is not just a consolidation of these products. It's a brand new product, brand new code base, but it does pull from some of that key functionality of these solutions and streamlines it into one IT ecosystem into GoTo Resolve. And what is it solving for? We keep the SMB and mid-market in mind for our products. And in that, when we surveyed our RSG customers, these were their main drivers, right? They had fragmented or disparate technologies in place, and over 50% were looking to consolidate. 40% didn't even have like a basic ticketing system. They were using emails. So they want to organize that and have, a tool that serves as a, ticketing and triage mechanism to support their remote users. And then obviously, a majority of them, over 60%, were keeping security top of mind. They've seen the headlines, and they want to take that security first approach. So with that, the first differentiator I mentioned is that single pane of glass, combining the reactive and proactive functionality into a single offering. The second big differentiator is going to be this zero trust. And maybe this audience is somewhat familiar with it or heard of zero trust. It's essentially an additional layer of security beyond password or login and password credentials and MFA if that's even in place. This is at the endpoint level. If you're familiar with LastPass, it's like the master password in LastPass, where it's zero knowledge environment, meaning it's at the user level. They create it. Our GoTo Cloud never sees it, right? So they own it, and it's one password for anytime you run an execution or an action inside GoTo Resolve, you're prompted for this zero trust. Essentially, it's like a signature key, a digital signature key that you create. This would have prevented breaches like the Kaseya breach or the Log4j, where it wasn't necessarily a password breach. They got in through the underlying code, and once they were in, they were able to execute all sorts of malware onto the connected devices. Zero trust prevents that, right? Because in order to do anything, you have to enter in your zero trust key that you've created. We never see. It's encrypted, decrypted locally, and that's an additional wall. Whereas if anybody gets into the cloud, they don't have the keys. If you were to break in the car, you still couldn't do anything because you don't have the keys to drive off, right? So there's my analogy there. It's an additional layer of security at the endpoint level. So obviously we're excited about this and seeing the momentum this is building as it's first to market. In fact, the government is just, I think back in late February, is mandating their agencies to adopt a zero trust model, for that additional security among their departments. And the third big differentiator is a freemium. So why does a freemium model matter to partners when they're trying to, obviously find new revenue streams? This is great. The freemium model is great because it gives new customers access to everything. So they have exposure to the remote support, the management, the conversational ticketing, the camera sharing, the integration into Slack and Teams, but it's on a limited basis, right? You have a limited number. It's like we call it the magic of 3, where you can run 3 actions a month, and then once they use that up, then they're pushed to one of the paid models, right? We think this is going to be a great way to pull together qualified lead for our partners, give their clients exposure to it at no cost, and then as they hit the paywall, they'll be coaxed into considering a paid plan there. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the actual demonstration. All right, and here we are. So as you can see, this is at console.gotoresolve.com. So this is the web app, the web-based version. There's also a desktop application as well as mobile. So the desktop and web app are essentially one and the same. So we just give users, it's at their discretion how they want to utilize the tool. And as you can see, as IT support platforms go, this is pretty straightforward and intuitive, and that's by design. We believe that's what drives adoption and is going to be a true model of the ROI that your customers see and realize. Over here on the top right, This is kind of the operational functionality, shooting into your administration center if you're to add licenses or toggle features, maybe customizing your ticketing, and then managing zero trust. So zero trust is also on a blockchain model. In order to come in, someone on the other side who's been approved needs to validate and approve you. So there's that additional experience there where someone authenticated will approve maybe a new user. And then you have this toggle here of dark theme, just from a visual standpoint, what you'd like to see. Over here on the left, this functionality category is what do you want to do, right? So you have your devices here that you can see. These are all your added devices. And if you're to add a device, you just click on this button, right? So you have your Windows installer, as well as your Mac, as well as the MSI package. The next one is the ad hoc support, which I'll be showing you, the ticketing, and then this is more the RMM, the background access and remote execution, and then finally reporting, right? So I'm going to first start actually in a big area of utilization, and that's ad hoc support. Oh, I forgot the third category, which is the main screen here, and this is the what are you in the middle of doing category, right? So if I go into support, if you're familiar with GoTo Assist, our ad hoc support product, it's the same look and feel, right? So you can start an instant remote support session here, or you can do a camera share. Usually the thought process is, am I supporting software or hardware? Like, do I need to see the phone on the desk? Then I would, connect to a camera and someone would be showing me that piece of hardware and no download required there. If I'm to start a remote support session, it generates the session, and then we need to meet in the same place. So the information and access to do so comes in three forms: a direct link, or I can send an SMS or email. So if I copy the link, I'm going to show you kind of the end user's experience. So when they're provided the link, they end up at this landing page. I can click join. And then back on the agent side, let me see here. Give me 1 second. So while that's determining, looks like it's having an issue with starting the session. So the good thing is I can actually have concurrent sessions. I can start up to 15 sessions. So maybe there's an issue on that one. I'm going to start a different one. Let me try this one. Okay, so then on the end user side, I'm going to accept. And then on the agent side, I want to choose how I'm going to take control. So I can either do a remote view where I just have visibility into the end user's machine, or I can actually take control. This requires a download on the end user side, a temporary file or exe. So I'm going to click on that. It's still very easy to come together and launch a video stream. As you see here, I have the guided agent flow that steps me through it, and I can monitor their progress. And it's very competitive with other solutions in the market because it's really 3 steps for the end user. I click on the link, I download the application, and then I go to run it. And once I do that, it's going to launch the video stream. And I can see here as an agent, it started the video stream, it's completed all the steps, and then we're gonna be together in the video stream, and I'll have a top banner here where I can take control of the machine and service and support it, right? So again, this is the look and feel of GoTo Assist. Disclaimer, in the demonstration environment, you see these infinity and beyond windows. That's just because I'm sharing my screen that's sharing its screen and so forth. But I can take control as an admin. I will have to get permission from the end user to do so. There's, the Control Alt Delete. I can reboot it. I definitely won't do it in this environment because in a demo that would restart the computer. I can send a file, take a snapshot, share my screen, and then I can zoom in, go full screen. I can take a look at the system or machine information here. I can take notes. So as you can see, just a lot of that key functionality for an ad hoc support session. And again, I can go to, when I go to support home, I can join someone else's session if a friend needs help, and I can have 15 concurrent sessions running at a time. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into devices. Another great aspect of GoTo Resolve is I can add as many devices as I want to. There's really no limit. I think that you can have up to 15,000 machines, which in the SMB and mid-market world, that's going to be more than adequate. So the difference is there's preferred devices and then there's standard devices. Preferred devices are what correlate to your pricing, right? So you see here our different tiers, and the preferred devices are 25 endpoints or 100 endpoints, right? So that's where you can actually take control and do stuff. And I'll show you if you're to take remote control, it's similar where you can either run a remote execution as background access, or you can take actual control of the machine if it's online. If it's offline, then you won't have that option. But every machine, regardless of whether it's preferred or standard, you can punch in and you have this quick view that gives you all the kind of the vitals or diagnostic of the machine. So maybe you get a trouble ticket and a computer's bogged down or running slow. You can immediately check out the CPU usage, the memory, the network processes running, drive information, and so forth, right? So a lot of great information, and this is just as a standard device. If I don't have all my devices as preferred, our customers are allotted 3 sort of shuffles a month to where they can shuffle standard devices into preferred devices, and they can do more than one as part of that shuffle. But again, if you're servicing machines frequently, you probably want to get an endpoint plan that matches your deployment or the network you're supporting, just because it can get a little tedious to try and consider that shuffle and what you're doing and hit that limitation of 3 a month. Okay, so remote execution, just to show you, this is the background access. This is kind of the RMM functionality where I can see past jobs. I can understand the date, timestamp, what it was, in this case, a PowerShell execution, and the machine's impacted. I can rerun it. If I were to create a new job, which platform, what steps I'd like to see. So this is a lot of the common RMM type of executions you would see, MSI installs, PowerShell, which essentially, familiar with PowerShell scripting, you can basically run anything, Microsoft Defender full scans, and we're going to be constantly adding to this until it reaches near or full parity with our central RMM product. Coming online, I think this quarter or begin through Q3 will be things like virus updates, patch management, alerts. Those are obviously highly sought after, so we'll be adding those in the short term. And anytime if I'm going to run an execution, I can choose some, none, or all. of the devices. And then when I go to review and run it, it'll prompt me to enter in my zero trust security key in order to run that execution. So again, if I was a bad actor and I was going to run malware, I wouldn't be able to because I wouldn't have a zero trust key. I wasn't an approved agent. Okay. Lastly, I know we're at 11:30, so I just want to give you some basic exposure to the help desk. This isn't a powerhouse ticketing platform yet, but again, 40% of our customers didn't even have any sort of ticketing in place. So this introduces an organized way to manage and queue inbound tickets. As you can see between open, in progress, and closed, I can add new tickets. Administrators can customize this as far as category and the departmental classifications and the corresponding email alias. What we do point our customers to is the Slack integration and the MS integration, those workspaces where conversations are already happening, and that helps kind of automate the template to manage to manage the tickets and what the agents are seeing from their end users. And then lastly, reporting. So this is just basic reporting. You can see, on a given day, what type of session. You can see the recordings as well as any notes that were added. Okay, I know we breezed through this because I was sensitive of time and we condensed it as we got everybody online today. So I'm going to stop talking and hand it back to you, Eric and Sergio, and your team if you have any questions.